Hello, my name is Sean Schwartz. I'm disabled. I'm actually here in Oregon because of abuse that I've been enduring for quite a few years. I've been trying to turn it in, but I get blown off, and I can't just keep living like this. I've been forced into homelessness. I can't take care of myself. I'm getting harassed by police. I got homeless people putting drugs in my drinks. This is not okay.
Give me 1 moment. I'll get someone in Adult Protective Services to come out and talk to you, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
So you said your name was Sean?
Sean Schwartz, SHAWN.
Okay, I'll let someone know that you're here.
Yes, ma'am.
I have proof of income and stuff for front desk.
address. Now, that's the thing. For the last 6 years, I haven't had a steady address. I've also been cut off from the people who promised to help me. Of course, they didn't follow through anyway, so who cares, right? Well, these guys need to care. All right, thank you. I might puke. Anxiety sucks. And sometimes he'll be right out, turns into 30 minutes or an hour or more. Tired of being victimized. It sucks. Yeah,
I talked to you the other day. Remember me? I'm Cal.
you're Cal. I'm
Yeah.
Sean.
Come on.
Good to meet you. sir.
How you doing?
Not too good.
The journey continues, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I know. Being as I was the one to talk to you the last time, I know a lot of the background and stuff, so.
Yes, sir.
What can I do for you? That's what I want to do, is I want to find out what we can do.
Well, for me to turn in these guys, I really need police involvement. I also need to be able to. So I have executive functioning issues when I'm overwhelmed. The problem is I've been overwhelmed since Natalie was killed. I literally can't take care of myself, and nobody's listening to that.
Uh-huh.
So when I'm victimized, I have to be afraid to go to the cops because I'll get the mentally ill treatment. With those guys who drugged me a few days ago, that's something that needs to be done
You
about.
told me about that.
But I can't just go to the cops and turn it in. I have to have somebody to go in with me. Otherwise, I'll get blown off again. And that's one of the things about the cops in Hood River is that they started off on the wrong foot. The first time that I ever spoke to them, they were harassing me over at Starbucks over something that didn't happen. And then they harassed me 3 other times over something that somebody else had done.
Mm-hmm.
And then they told some lies to some homeless people that almost got me assaulted on multiple occasions. Thank goodness there was witnesses to speak up. But the thing is, a lot of these witnesses, they're either homeless or they're broke or they don't want to rock the boat.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to record every situation that I have to deal with, because if I don't, then it's people's word versus mine. They get to say, oh, he's mentally ill, and pretend like I'm schizophrenic and shouldn't be listened to.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, my whole car is full of evidence of 6 years worth of abuse. Anyway, I'm here because it's not just physical abuse and people drugging me and police refusing to do their jobs and me having to go to all these different agencies by myself for them all to say it's not their job. You guys are all supposed to work together, and that's exactly the opposite of what I've been seeing.
Mm-hmm.
When these agencies do work together, they're working together to protect bad cops. And that's screwed up, because it's not just cops that I'm being abused by. The problem with the cops is that I told on some bad cops, and I continue to do so.
That was Nebraska.
Nebraska, Colorado, Washington State.
Uh-huh.
That's the thing, is that people hold bias no matter where in the country they live.
Yeah.
So you've got regional bias, and then you've got bias that everybody is taught. Regionally, I'm from Nebraska. We're taught we're supposed to hate black people, and we're supposed to hate Mexicans. We're supposed to hate gay people and all this, that, and the other. We're supposed to hate anybody who ain't Christian. But then if you go to, like, middle of California, those people hate Nebraskans.
I haven't spent much time in Nebraska, but I have spent a little bit of time in California. I used to work in the Air Force near San Jose, so yeah.
I lived in Huntington Beach for about 6 months.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's quite a ways further south. I know a friend who just moved down there, was from there originally, moved back. So, and my wife is from El Segundo. So, yeah.
All pretty palm tree areas. Almost.
Mm-hmm.
29 Palms is nice, but I wouldn't call those palm trees.
Yeah, I've never been there, but I've gotten packages from there. It seems to be a kind of a shipping center sometimes for different things. So yeah.
Yeah, those are not palm trees. Anyway, every time I'm told that I gotta go somewhere, I still have to do it myself. This right here is the executive functioning stuff. I can't do this, but I'm being forced to do it.
Well, I appreciate your your courage to do it. I know it's probably putting you out of your comfort zone, but I'm the same way. I've always been kind of an introvert, I hate being the one that's sitting in the front row of a lecture and then asking questions. I'd rather sit in the back somewhere where nobody sees me. But I'm finally coming out of my shell, so.
I didn't get to have that choice with it. When Natalie died, people put it all over the news, and
Uh-huh.
they still keep making these Natalie volunteer groups and sites. And
Where are you from originally, Sean?
I was born in Scottsbluff,
Where?
Scottsbluff,
Where's that?
Nebraska.
Oh, it is Nebraska. Okay.
Yeah, western
Okay.
side.
Okay.
But you know, this abuse has been going on for 6 years, and for years I've been told that I have to go to literally the officers that I'm trying to turn in, not only to turn in those officers, but
Mhm.
also to turn in anybody in the community who harms me. And I've
Mhm.
got 6 years of evidence that law enforcement has done everything that they can to give me the mentally ill homeless male treatment, which is basically, well, you're not a person. People can do whatever they want to you, and we're not going to do squat.
Have you asked anybody about advocacy for you, or
I have. I've been trying to get an
who
advocate.
who you been trying through? You know.
Um, oh my God, where's the list even start? That's the thing about me trying to even explain it. I've called the Department of Health and Human Services, Adult
Uh-huh.
Protective Services.
I know you've been through. You've talked with people from Center for Living,
Oh my
Yeah.
God, those guys, they
Uh-huh.
need to,
and
they
I
need to
know.
have actual social workers. All of the homeless in Hood River are unhappy.
Did you get a
with that.
chance? Did you get a chance to talk to a social worker while you were at the hospital?
No, they don't have social workers there. All they have is Center for Living.
I'm talking about the hospital has some.
No, they don't. They told me all they have is Center for Living.
Oh, they're wrong about that. They do have social
Well,
workers.
that's the reason that I need somebody to go with me is because
Yeah.
they can BS me anywhere, and it's just
Yeah.
my word versus theirs.
The only
They
reason
call
I
me
know that,
mentally ill
only
and
reason I know
lose.
that is because I get calls from them when they're trying to get somebody, that's been in there and they need to make a safe discharge to a home or somewhere or make a plan. That's who I talk to. Of course, they might
Well,
call
I
them
was
discharge
there.
planners, but
I was there. They told me that they don't have social workers, that I had to call the Center for Living, and that the Center for Living is who they call. And that's the thing is that I was at the hospital. I asked
How old
for
are
a
you now,
social
Sean?
worker. I'm 41.
41. Okay. Okay.
That's one of the things about having a advocacy is that I haven't had it. My disabilities, by law, I'm supposed to have somebody from the ADA come down and help me with this stuff, but it doesn't matter because that's not going to be applied. Nobody's going to enforce it. There's no teeth to these laws.
Okay. I'm a little bit at a loss because this is kind of a new one for me. I typically deal with, elders, 65 or older who have physical disabilities.
I
But this
have
is
both
not, but this is
physical
not something that
and
I,
mental.
I'm not willing to try and take on too. So
Well,
you say
I've got-
ADA is supposed to be helping on that. That's something I'll have
Yep,
to look
but
into.
that's one of the things about not having a guardian or an advocate to help me with this.
Okay.
The other thing is, it's been 6 years of me trying to get help, and now I have people tell me, oh, well, nobody can go through 6 years of abuse. Nobody can go through 6 years of evidence. And that's the thing, is that it shouldn't be 6 years worth. When I first started trying to get help over 6 years ago, they should have helped. I'm a disabled male, and I wasn't homeless. I was made homeless when Natalie was killed. I was stuck in subservient positions where, like, I really needed to get court going so that I could take Natalie and her sister and Maddie Boa to court.
Yeah. Now, are you looking for, I'm just putting this out here to see where where you're willing to go, guardianship.
I've been trying to get a guardian for that entire time. I should have had a guardian at 18 because my parents aren't up to the
And you
task.
understand what a guardian does as far as making decisions for you and things like that. Is that something you'd be willing to accept?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's the thing that sucks is it's not something that I should have to, but it's the safest option, and I've had so many people try to talk me out of it.
Uh-huh.
The other thing is, like, as far as the guardian goes, if they're not, if they don't know what's going on with me, then they can't make positive decisions or the right decisions. And
Right,
that's the same
right.
with anybody. If you don't have all the right information, you can't make the right decisions.
Do you have any family member that would be willing to do a guardianship?
No.
Okay. So if
I've been
it
trying.
proceeded with the guardianship, it'd be more or less the state.
Yeah.
Would you trust the state to be a guardian?
No, I wouldn't, and nobody does. None of the places that I've been, they've all told me you don't want that. But the thing
Okay,
is,
so you
if
want a
that's,
guardian, but you
I'm willing to
don't
take a
want it.
state guardian. Everybody else tells me I don't want one, but I have to think about not
Well, they
just
have
myself,
to,
but
the
also
thing about
others.
state guardianship is they have to answer too, so.
Well, I've been trying to get a state guardian since the abuse started. I mean, I was supposed to have one at 18, and then
Has anybody started that process for you or tried?
me and Tamara started it after, well, I had to do it all by myself up until Tamara in 2017.
Okay, so that's when last tried.
Well, she
what
was the
state
only
was that?
person to make an actual effort. That was Nebraska.
Okay.
She said in order to get the abuse to stop, first thing we needed to do was to get me on disability and fill out the developmental disability paperwork. And then after that, I would have a guardian. And with a guardian, if somebody is harming me, I go to my guardian and they're supposed to report it immediately. So we went through the first part, and she, because I'm autistic and her son's autistic and we're very similar. This is before Natalie was killed, by the way. She quit her job so that her son wouldn't have to go through what I was going through at the time. She was wanting to basically prepare him for the world and take care of everything that she could before he turned 18. And she realized she only had 4 years, which isn't a lot of time. When I was showing her how my life had developed and with my parents' help, she realized that it really is going to be a lot of work. And she quit her job, but she made sure I had the disability, but we never got the developmental disability paperwork done.
Okay.
And then I was going to do that again after Natalie died. Well, I was going to do it again with Jeff Ritter and Kara Heller in Colorado. And then I was going to do it again with Brenda Dickinson, but she was on rheumatoid arthritis meds for pain. And then I was going to do it with Justine Marks or Justine Martindale. But then her sister's husband talked them out of it and came and BS'd me. And then I was going to do the developmental disability paperwork in 2021. But the people that I was trying to turn in, because I've been through all of this, in order to get the abuse to stop, I have to eventually get to the point where I have a guardian, but I haven't had that assistance.
And the 2021 one, that was also in Nebraska? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, are you
Tried to turn in police officers who were, it's a good old boy state. So I had a lot of people in town that were assaulting me and threatening my life, and they're friends with the cops. The local sheriff, I was trying to turn him in, and 4 other individuals, and those 4 individuals all pressed false charges on me. I was sent to prison under the County Safe Keep program, which means that I wasn't convicted of anything. They just didn't have a jail to put me in. And then they told the jails that I was schizophrenic and told the prison that I was schizophrenic and delusional. And the fact is, I've got my diagnosis.
Are you receiving any disability from?
I am, but it's going to get cut off. I get
who you're receiving that, but that's through the state.
Disability through the state of Nebraska, and they're going to cut it off at the end of the month. I can't even get into my account to see what is going on with it, and that's another thing that's they're going to cut it off at the end of the month. I can't do anything about it. That's
how much were they giving you?
About $800 a month.
Okay.
It's full disability for Nebraska.
Okay. Are you getting any Social Security or SSI or?
I'm not sure if it's SSI or I think it's SSDI that I'm getting.
Okay, and that's about how much?
It's about $800 a month.
Okay, so you're getting 800 from the state and SSI, so you're getting about 1,600 a month.
No, I only get one of them.
Oh, you're just getting 800. That's okay.
And it's not enough to live on. $400 comes off the top immediately.
Yeah.
I got a vehicle, so I got to pay the insurance on that. The thing is, I don't have the ability to jump through this. I had to try to get disability on my own from 18 until I was 37 or 38. I'm 37.
And you
so
say
I'm-
you have a diagnosis now from
I do. Well, I've had diagnosis most of my life. I mean, I've been diagnosed with Tourette syndrome. I've been diagnosed with Asperger's, which is a
and you said PTSD.
PTSD. Yep.
Mhm.
There's also diagnosis that I had when I was younger that were based off of medications that I was taking. And as soon as I was off those medications, the side effects went away. In some of those cases, they just kept on writing it down.
Was that causing psychosis or anything like that? Or?
Some of the medications did make me violent. You don't want to put Haldol in me. That's just a generally bad idea. It doesn't work right in my system. But other than that, it's just the sheer quantity that I was on as a kid.
Okay. Are you
really
taking
messed me
Are you
up.
taking medications now?
No,
Okay.
none of my doctors are willing to put me on meds.
I'm just trying to get some background because what I'm gonna do is after we talk, I'm gonna have to do some digging for you to check out this stuff myself. I started one guardianship for he was a younger person. His mom was taking care of him, but didn't qualify because he wasn't in any kind of imminent danger at that time. So
Well, I am in imminent danger. I'm not sure if
well,
you
yeah,
got to look up
you're
the name
definitely at
Natalie
risk.
Bollinger.
Yeah.
Well, more than just risk. I've got people threatening to kill me for 6 years straight. Here's my hospital paperwork. This is from
the other day.
This is from the other day. Drugs of abuse, screen, urine, and here's what it had in me: methamphetamines.
Okay.
Now they call it ninja dosing, and you're supposed to do it with acid. It's for somebody you really don't like, and if they ingest it, they can't tell that there's acid in there, and it screws their head up permanently. Well, this guy's a friggin' younger feller.
Did they give you these medications to help reduce that?
No, these are from the last time that I was in.
Okay.
Because I went in there with a migraine.
Okay.
About 2 months ago.
Okay. They don't show you on here what the level of it was, huh?
Yeah, that's that's one of the things that they said I'd have to go to the legal department for, and I'd have to go to the records department for, and that just makes it impossible for me without an address or an advocate or a guardian.
Pressure wasn't too bad.
No, well, considering I was on methamphetamines, that's actually all really good.
Respiration's good, oxygen good. Have you always been, other than the issues with the PTSD, and have you been fairly healthy?
I used to be. I screwed up my back moving a gun lathe. I also carried heavy packs for years.
I kind of messed my lower back up yesterday. I ordered one of those, it's called a ghost bed. It's for putting in an RV and stuff, because we bought a trailer, and the mattress that comes with it was about as cheap as you can get. This thing comes FedEx yesterday in a box, because even if it's got coils, they compress it with a machine somehow, so it fits in a cardboard box, and then you basically cut the plastic, and this thing.
Oh, that'll hurt you.
That was a 122-pound box, and it's long, so it's awkward, and I'm trying to shove it up into the RV.
A good way to get hurt too. But
Yeah,
I
I was taking some ibuprofen later. Yeah.
I got L3 and L5, and then I've also got hip and knee problems from several of the assaults that I was in. I have ankle problems from one of the assaults. I also have some walking problems on the other leg because I stomped on the telephone.
Just got right down the date that you were in the hospital, 8/14.
Yeah.
Did you follow up with, let's see, 8/16?
I
Did you
called
follow
them.
up with the community health thing?
I called them up. They told me that they can't do anything until November.
Till November?
November, yeah. On that right there, it says 2 days. I did call
Yeah.
those people. It's, on my phone record that I did call them. And yeah, they told me they couldn't do anything until November. They weren't taking anyone on until November. And
And they were the ones that told you to call me, right, the other day? I think they referred you to
they
our
might
office.
have been.
Yeah,
Um,
we do. I've dealt with
it might have been community first something or other that actually transferred me. I'm not sure though.
Okay,
I'm
that's
not
fine.
for certain. One of the things through this, like I said, it's 6 years. I've literally made thousands of phone calls. So, I mean, if you ask me if I called a place, I probably did, but I'll probably call them again.
Okay.
Whenever people tell me to call someplace or do something, I try to make sure that I do so. That way I can prove that I'm trying to do what they're asking.
Right.
Most of the time, if it doesn't have the results that people think that it should have, then they won't even look at the fact that I tried. They'll just pretend I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem with being incredibly different, is that if I talk calmly like I am right now,
You're doing
although I've
good.
got a
You're
lot
doing
of
good.
anxiety,
Yeah.
most of the time people don't hear what I'm saying. They don't realize that there is a major issue if I speak
Well,
like
sometimes
this.
people don't listen.
You're right. But if I raise my voice, where I'm angry and cursing, that seems to be what everyone understands. That's what people hear. And I don't want to be that way. That's
Well,
never
no,
been who I
because usually
was.
down all that does is puts a wall up, and no one's getting anywhere when that starts happening.
It does. And that's one of the things about it being such a desperate situation, is that when it does get that incredibly desperate, where I'm explaining to people who should know and should understand this stuff that what they're doing is wrong, it's incredibly frustrating for me. When you grow up in the system, you know the protocols, you recognize the protocols. You've seen that one guy who comes to work there at an institution and he thinks to himself, oh well, I can get away with doing this to somebody, I'm the guy who's in charge, or I'm at a juvenile facility, and if one of these little bastards gets an attitude with me, and then you get to see, people that take their job not seriously. They take the abuse that they're able to inflict on somebody seriously in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're staff members, it's going to be their word versus yours. Just like anytime there's a situation with the police, it's their word versus yours. And for me, I go out of my way every time I have to talk to cops to try to make sure that it is recorded, because of how not just myself, but all homeless people are treated.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the situation of me with PTSD and everything I've gone through. I mean, if I wasn't stuck homeless, I'd be a shut-in. I wouldn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
With the people putting those drugs in me, I need someone who will help me to turn that in. Because if I do it myself,
Did
it'll
you
get
find
thrown
out?
off.
Did you find out the name of this guy yet?
No, I didn't, but I was able to find the names of 3 different people that know him, and I have their numbers as well.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I did some homework. But the issue with that is that I would still have to go to Hood River Police Department, and when I say I need help turning it in, I don't mean for somebody to call up Hood River Police Department for me and say, oh, Sean's going to show up, because then in that situation, I'm still walking in by myself. And I've been trying to turn in a Hood River Police Department and Hood River Sheriff's Department over multiple occasions where they almost got me assaulted.
Mm-hmm.
It's not appropriate for
Are
me
you
to have to
wanting
go
to?
back to them.
Yeah. Are you wanting to remain in Hood River, or you have preferences of where you'd like to reside, or?
I want to hit the open ocean, honestly. But that's not a happening thing. There's a lot of free boats that if I had a truck, I could go pick one up and put it in the water and just call it good. But really, I don't have anywhere to live. I've got nowhere to go. Everywhere that I've gone since Natalie was killed, it just costs me money, and I have to start over every time I move.
Mm-hmm.
With Hood River, no, I don't want to stay there permanently, but I got to be able to get something going so I can.
Yeah, gotta have even a basic route. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I got to be able to stop stuff like this happening,
Uh-huh.
and that's not going to happen. There's also the fact that the services that I was told to call in Hood River, they were all very unprofessional. And then, even though all of these services knew I was trying to turn in the cops, they started playing stupid, and then they called the cops because I was telling them that I was going to take them to court.
Are you getting food stamps, or so you got an EBT card or anything like that? Help you with
Yeah,
food?
but they're gonna shut all that off. That's the thing about me being Nebraskan and not having a guardian or an advocate helping me with this stuff. I can't do it. I have to write down my numbers and everything down on a piece of paper so I can remember what my code is to or password to get into anything. And, with me living in the vehicle that I'm living in, there's 15 bags just worth of
Mhm.
paper evidence in all this situation since Natalie was killed. And like I said, that was years ago.
Mhm.
What I'm going through in Hood River is a continuation of that. I came here to try to help find some missing people that were actually involved in the situation and with some of my predators, and also with trying to help me. David and Katie Saltzman are still missing. Rebecca is in Vancouver right now, I think. I'm not sure what's going on with her. I just have to hope she's safe. But I had to go somewhere because people were threatening to kill my niece and my sister. And
Were they still residing in Nebraska? Or?
yeah, that's the reason I moved away. A lot of my predators in Nebraska, they want to. Well, they've been threatening my friends and family since 2016. So,
A long time to hold that all going.
well, I've been trying to get the cops to listen and to do something serious about it since over a year before Natalie was killed. She
Mhm.
was killed in December 2017, but we were friends in October of 2016.
Mhm.
And the whole situation with her being on drugs and her mom finding her drugs, and of course you got to have a scapegoat. You can't turn in your dealer. It's got to be somebody else. And of course I ended up being the scapegoat. Now, I didn't get any indication from anybody that she was trying to blame the heroin on me or say that I gave it to her. Everybody that I've spoken with said, no, dude, she wasn't saying nothing like that. She said that this person and this person and this person had done so, and then they'd go off on a list.
Mhm.
But all of this abuse was over, well, my gender, my race, my disabilities.
Mhm.
Like, that's just stupid. Those are all things that it's illegal to discriminate against somebody for, and yet I have to deal with that from the police and even from my own public pretenders. The thing is, I've gone to Adult Protective Services. I've got the stuff with Tara Smith from Adult Protective Services in Nebraska.
Mhm.
I had to go to them almost a dozen times after
Okay.
the first initial call to them because the two officers I was trying to turn in there, um, well, they got to be there to basically intimidate me while I had to try to make a report about them to Tara Smith. About a year and a half later, I ran into Tara Smith again because she was supposed to come investigate for Department of Health and Human Services. She never bothered to do any follow up. She never did anything to help me to get an advocate or a guardian. Basically, she did everything she could to change the subject, try to talk about anything other than the abuse or who it was from. And that's just complete insanity. Like, the reason that she even showed up is because they had this idea in their head that I was going to sign over all of my money to them.
Mhm.
Well, I'm not going to sign over all my money to them. I needed them to show up and do their jobs. And I wouldn't have minded signing my money over to them if they'd appointed me a guardian, but they didn't. And like I said, I've got years of evidence of this. I've got a computer in my vehicle that's full of evidence. There's multiple court dates that I've had that I was illegally prevented from even going to. I mean, this is stuff that can't be allowed to happen. It is abusive. It is illegal. It is immoral. I cannot defend myself or take care of myself. That doesn't mean that it's okay to abuse me. That doesn't mean that it's okay to assault me or to press false charges on me or to put drugs in my system. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I agree. What I want to do is, like I said, I want to I'm not gonna be able to find the answers today. It's Friday, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, I hate
I
using
was
that cop
hoping to
out.
get in here on Friday,
Yeah.
because otherwise I'd
Yeah.
be stuck all weekend having a
No,
panic
because
attack.
what I'm
but
gonna
you're
do as we get to talk, and I'm gonna go back, and I do have I think I've still got it on my shelf back there or somewhere, one of my coworker shelves, and it's the stuff on guardianships and things, and I've also got a person who is the case manager supervisor now, but she used to be Adult Protective Services, and she's a wealth of information. She's been through a lot of more of this stuff than I have, so I can use her for a resource to answer some of my questions. But that's what I want to do is try to get. I want to try on working on getting you an advocate or a guardianship or something. You know.
Yes, sir. They were supposed to do that in Nebraska. The problem is that they gave me a volunteer. They're not actually supposed to use the advocate name in Nebraska because there's a legal definition for it in Nebraska, and if you don't follow the legal definition, you're committing fraud.
Hmm.
But she was just a volunteer. She couldn't do the job and had 10 million different reasons why she couldn't. And then she could, and then she couldn't, and then she could. And that's the whole story of this epic yo-yo is that, well, people can and then they can't and then they can and then they can't. And by the end of it, I've gone through, now 6 years of back and forth, going around in circles. There's a guy named Dan that I spoke with, and he actually he's from the Dallas Center for Living. He's actually somebody that I need to talk to as well.
Okay. Dan.
Yeah, is there a piece of paper I can actually sign for you to talk to him? He's from the crisis part.
Yeah, we work with those folks over there, so
All right.
I can just call over and find out who Dan is.
Well, there's the situation with Natalie Bollinger. There's two different Dans there. Dan Vasquez, and then there's the Dan who works in the crisis portion.
Okay, and Dan, the crisis one you talked to?
Yeah, but he actually looked up the Natalie Bollinger situation.
Yeah, I did too.
Well, that explains why you're talking to me like this instead of like I'm an idiot.
I don't know if you remember, you called here once before and you talked to Lisa. She's my supervisor. You talked to her at length and mentioned Natalie and stuff, and so she relayed that information to me. It's been quite a while